MCU getting predictable? Maybe, but that's all about to change. The Thunderbolts are bringing the grit, America Chavez is unlocking the multiverse, Sentry could rewrite reality, and the Fantastic Four are finally here. These newcomers are complex, powerful, and ready to shake things up. The MCU's future is anything but predictable now. Kicking off our list at number 10, we've got a team that's going to redefine what it means to be a hero, or maybe just an anti-hero. I am talking about, of course, the Thunderbolts. This isn't your grandma's Avengers, folks. Forget shiny armor and goody two-shoes attitudes. The Thunderbolts are a crew of reformed villains and morally ambiguous operatives handpicked by Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine to do the dirty work that no one else will. They're the MCU's answer to a morally gray Black Ops team, and they are about to turn things upside down. We're talking about a roster that's stacked with heavy hitters like US Agent, a Captain America gone rogue, Yelena Belova, the dangerous Black Widow, the ever-loyal Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, the hilarious and powerful Red Guardian, the mysterious Taskmaster, and the phasing powerhouse Ghost. These heroes don't play by the rules. They're rough around the edges, they've got baggage, and they're not afraid to get their hands dirty in the name of whatever mission they're assigned. What makes the Thunderbolts such game changers? For starters, they're ushering in a darker, grittier tone to the MCU. They're gonna push the boundaries of what is acceptable in a hero, and we cannot wait to see it. This team's dynamic is a powder keg waiting to explode, and we're here for every glorious, messy second of it. Coming in at number 9, we have the Soviet super soldier himself, the Red Guardian. Russia's answer to Captain America, Alexei is a Cold War relic with a story as fascinating as his powers. This guy's got enhanced strength, speed, and durability, making him a formidable opponent in pretty much any fight. But Red Guardian is more than just brute force. He's a father figure, albeit a flawed one, to Yelena and Natasha. He's got a surprisingly good heart underneath that gruff exterior and a fierce loyalty to his family, both blood and found. Red Guardian brings a unique international perspective to the MCU, reminding us that the world of superheroes extends beyond America's borders. His presence opens up a treasure trove of possibilities for exploring Cold War history, global conflicts, and the complex web of international espionage. And let's not forget his history with the Winter Soldier. This connection adds another layer to Bucky's already complicated past, hinting at shared traumas and unresolved conflicts that are sure to play out in exciting ways. Alright folks, get ready for some controversy, because at number 8 we have the one and only US Agent. Where do we even begin? John Walker is a decorated soldier who is given the super soldier serum and the mantle of Captain America. US Agent is a stark reminder that power without responsibility is a dangerous recipe. He's got the physical enhancements of Captain America, but his methods are brutal, his temper is short, and his moral compass is, let's just say, it needs some serious recalibration. He's a walking embodiment of patriotism gone wrong, a cautionary tale of what happens when a hero loses his way. US Agent's presence throws a wrench into the very idea of what it means to be a hero in the MCU. He forces us to question the symbols we hold dear and the individuals we choose to represent them. Prepare to be amazed by number 7, the phasing anti-heroine known as Ghost. Ava Starr's story is as tragic as it is fascinating. Exposed to quantum energy in a lab accident, she gained the ability to become intangible, walk through walls, and even deliver powerful phased punches. Ghost's powers are a double-edged sword. They make her a formidable opponent, but they also cause her immense suffering. She's constantly battling her own body, desperately seeking a cure for her condition. Her story adds another layer to the MCU's ongoing exploration of the consequences of power. She's a living example that not all superpowers are glamorous, and sometimes the greatest battles are fought within ourselves. Her motivations are complex, her methods are questionable, but her pain is undeniably real. She's a powerful addition to the MCU, and her story is far from over. At number 6, get ready to have your minds blown wide open, because we have the dimension-hopping powerhouse herself, America Chavez. This young hero is a literal game changer, possessing the incredible ability to punch star-shaped portals that allow her to travel through the multiverse. You heard that right, America Chavez can literally punch her way through different realities. Talk about a power that opens up endless possibilities. Her arrival in the MCU is kind of like opening Pandora's box, but instead of unleashing evils, it's unleashing infinite universes. The multiverse is at our fingertips, and the implications are staggering. But America is more than just her powers. She represents a new generation of heroes, diverse, powerful, and ready to face any challenge that the multiverse throws their way. She's a symbol of hope and resilience, a testament to the strength of youth, and a reminder that anyone can be a hero no matter where they come from. But hold on to your hats, folks, because number 5 on our list is a hero so powerful he could rewrite the entire fabric of the MCU. I am talking about the one, the only, Sentry. This guy is basically Marvel's answer to Superman, possessing strength that rivals the Hulk, the ability to fly, near invulnerability, and even the power to manipulate matter. But here's the kicker, he's got a dark side, a terrifying entity known as the Void, which is the literal embodiment of all his his fears, doubts, and negative emotions. Sentry is basically carrying the power of 1,000 exploding suns, with the mind of someone who needs some serious therapy. Sentry's introduction to the MCU is a huge deal, and his appearance in Thunderbolts is highly anticipated. He's potentially the most powerful being in this universe, capable of reshaping reality itself. But it's not just his power that makes him so compelling, it's his internal struggle, his constant battle against the void, that adds a whole new layer of depth to this character. And here's a theory that's been buzzing around the internet. Sentry's repressed memories and potential ties to Avengers Tower suggest he might have been a hero all along, a protector hidden in plain sight. Sentry is a ticking time bomb of power and psychological turmoil, and his arrival is going to send shockwaves through the entire MCU. Coming in at number 4, it's not just one hero, but a whole team that's about to redefine the meaning of family in the MCU, the Fantastic Four. They're not just any team, they are time-displaced heroes from the 1960s, stranded in a strange new world after a mission gone wrong. We are getting a whole team of heroes ripped straight out of another era. This family of adventurers, bound together by a cosmic ray mishap that granted them extraordinary powers, are bringing their unique brand of heroism to a world that desperately needs them. The Fantastic Four are Marvel's first family, and their arrival is a landmark moment for the MCU. They were the pioneers of a new kind of superhero story, one that embraced its characters' flaws and focused on the importance of human connection. Beyond their family dynamic, the Fantastic Four are connected to some of the biggest villains and cosmic entities in the Marvel Universe. Dr. Doom, Galactus, and the Silver Surfer, these are just a few of the iconic characters tied to the Fantastic Four's lore. Their arrival opens up a whole new world of storytelling possibilities, expanding the MCU's cosmic scope and introducing a new level of threat that will require all hands on deck. So leading the charge at number 3 is the brilliant and elastic leader of the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic. Reed Richards is more than just a stretchy guy. He's one of the smartest minds in the Marvel Universe. This scientific genius can stretch, contort, and reshape his body into virtually any form imaginable, making him a surprisingly versatile fighter and an invaluable problem solver. Mr. Fantastic's intellect is his greatest weapon. He's a master of science and technology, capable of inventing incredible gadgets, devising complex strategies, and understanding the very fabric of reality. His arrival in the MCU isn't just about adding another powerful hero to the roster. It's about introducing a scientific mind that could revolutionize technology and push the boundaries of what's possible. He's the kind of hero who can outsmart his opponents as easily as he can outfight them. Mr. Fantastic is about to stretch the limits of the MCU, both literally and figuratively. But coming in at a very close second is the heart and soul of the Fantastic Four, the powerful and compassionate Invisible Woman. Susan Storm is a formidable hero possessing the ability to turn invisible, create powerful force fields, and even generate invisible energy blasts. Invisible Woman is the glue that holds the Fantastic Four together. She's the voice of reason, the moral compass, and the unwavering protector of her family. Her powers are a reflection of her inner strength and resilience. She can be as subtle as a whisper or as powerful as a hurricane, depending on what the situation demands. Invisible Woman's presence in the MCU is a major step forward for female representation in superhero films. She's not a damsel in distress or a sidekick. She's a strong, independent hero who can hold her own in any fight and protect those she loves with unwavering determination. Her powers and strategic thinking make her a vital asset to the team, and her compassion and empathy make her a true leader. And finally, folks, our number 1 newest hero changing the MCU is the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing. Ben Grimm, the rock-skinned powerhouse of the Fantastic Four, is a testament to the power of inner strength and unwavering loyalty. This guy is the muscle of the team, possessing super strength, incredible durability, and a heart of gold. The Thing's transformation may have made him a monster on the outside, but it also revealed his true heroism within. He's a loyal friend, a fierce protector, and a constant source of strength for the Fantastic Four. The Thing's arrival in the MCU is a powerful statement about overcoming adversity and embracing your inner strength. He's a reminder that even when life throws you the hardest punches, you can still find the strength to keep fighting. Thing is about to show the MCU that it's not about what you look like, it's about who you are on the inside, and that sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who have to overcome the most.
Number 10. Emily Bright. Making her first appearance in Strange Academy issue 1 in 2020, Emily Bright was born with an innate connection to magic. Even as a young child, her abilities manifested in these subtle ways, such as healing injured animals with a simple touch. Her life changed forever when Doctor Strange personally invited her to enroll in Strange Academy, a school of course dedicated to training the next generation of sorcerers. Now at the academy, Emily learns advanced spells, elemental control, and how to summon mystical energies. However, her raw magical potential is both a gift and a curse. She often finds herself a target for dark entities eager to harness her power, including forces from dimensions that she never even knew existed. Emily's journey is all about self-discovery and responsibility as she struggles to balance her desire for a normal life with the burden of protecting the magical realms. Hashtag first world problems. Number 9. Doyle Dormammu. Making his first appearance in Strange Academy 1 in 2020, Doyle Dormammu is the teenage son of Dormammu, the infamous ruler of the Dark Dimension, and of course a long-standing enemy of Doctor Strange. Now, despite his fiery skull and lineage and all that scary stuff, Doyle seeks to forge his own path, but this time as a hero. At Strange Academy, he works tirelessly to prove that he is more than his father's legacy. Doyle's powers include fire manipulation, invulnerability to heat, and the ability to tap into the interdimensional magic. However, his journey is marked by internal conflicts. He often questions whether he can escape the darkness of his ancestry or if his father's influence is too deeply ingrained. Doyle's dynamic relationships with his classmates, especially Emily Bright, add depth to his character, showcasing that his struggle to balance friendship, heroism, and the constant threat of his father's looming control is a pretty hard one to balance. Number 8. Eve Warlock. Making her first appearance in Warlock Rebirth 1 back in 2023, in the world of the Christian Bible, if you know Adam, then you also must have heard of Eve. Well, Marvel takes this idea and introduces a new female counterpart to Adam Warlock, called Eve Warlock. Genetically engineered to be the perfect woman, in quotes, Eve surpasses Adam in nearly every aspect, making her a powerful and an intriguing figure in this reimagined origin story of the iconic Marvel hero. Created by the High Evolutionary, Eve Warlock initially defies her creator's intentions and, like Adam, seeks her own path as a hero within Earth 616. However, unlike many heroes, she's not known for her compassion or her friendliness. You can't have them all, folks. Eve tends to keep to herself, avoiding interactions with others and distancing herself from the conventional ideals of heroism. Now, this aloofness and lack of sympathy make her a unique addition to the Marvel Universe, with her character developing beyond the shadow of Adam Warlock's legacy. Number 7. Samurai Venom. Pretty self-explanatory, let's dive in. Making his first appearance in Extreme Venomverse number 1 back in May 2023, in a unique twist on the symbiote saga, Samurai Venom takes the fusion of ancient warrior culture and Venom to thrilling new heights. Originating from an alternate Earth, this version of Venom combines the power of the symbiote with the discipline and ferocity of a samurai. Now, although Samurai Venom has only appeared in 2 Marvel comics in 2023 and met a untimely demise, the concept of a symbiote wielding warrior offers rich potential for future stories. It's pretty badass. Given Marvel's tradition of reinventing symbiotes, there's always a chance for this character to return. I mean, we hope. The origin of Samurai Venom is set in motion when an Oscorp employee stumbles upon this mysterious black sword. Upon drawing the blade, Takemoto, the unsuspecting wielder, is then bonded with the Venom symbiote, transforming into Samurai Venom. This dimensional character brings a fresh and visually striking take on the classic symbiote, and while he exists in an alternate universe, the idea of a Venom samurai could certainly find its way back into the core Marvel continuity, perhaps as a historical figure on Earth 616. Never say never. Number 6. Hunter's Moon. Making their first appearance in Moon Knight issue 3 2021, Hunter's Moon, aka Dr. Batter, is a devout follower of Khonshu, the Egyptian moon god, and serves as a counterpart to Mark Spector's Moon Knight. Batter views himself as the god's loyal servant, upholding Khonshu's will without question. Hunter's Moon possesses enhanced strength, agility, and healing abilities, especially during a full moon, of course, as well as access to Khonshu's divine magic. His character brings an intriguing moral contrast to Moon Knight, questioning whether blind faith or moral ambiguity is a better path. As both an ally and a rival, Hunter's Moon challenges Mark Spector to reconsider his relationship with Khonshu and the nature of his mission. Number 5. Wagnerine. Making their first appearance in Nightcrawler's issue 1 in 2023, Wagnerine from Earth TRN 993 is the result of Mr. Sinister's experiment, blending the powers of Nightcrawler and Wolverine into a single weaponized mutant. With both teleportation and claws, she's a force to be reckoned with. Though her time in the comics was brief, her fierce determination to protect her child, even at a great personal cost, of course makes her a memorable character. Wagnerine's fusion of iconic abilities offers a fresh twist on familiar mutants and left a lasting mark on Marvel's multiverse. That's the 2 powers you'd want, really. Teleportation and some claws? game over, pal. Number 4. Scarlet Scarab. Making their first appearance in Moon Knight 25, 2023. Originally, they were introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Layla Al Fowley made her comic debut as the Scarlet Scarab in 2023. Her story adds depth to Mark Spector's journey, pushing him towards becoming Moon Knight. After his passing, Layla was resurrected by the goddess Tawarit and returned as a powerful protector of the Egyptian god's City of the Dead. With her new abilities, she teams up with Moon Knight, forming a compelling duo that brings fresh excitement to Marvel Comics. Her powers and evolving relationship with Moon Knight promise more thrilling adventures in the Marvel Universe. We didn't get a lot of her in the Moon Knight show. I wonder if we'll get more in season 2. I wonder if we'll get a season 2 at this point. I mean, who knows? Number 3. Ironfire. Making their first appearance in Sins of Sinister 2023, Ironfire was introduced in the dystopian future of Sins of Sinister. It's a mutant with the unique ability to transmute his blood into weapons and armor. Now, in a world where Sinister has taken fully control, Ironfire becomes a leader in the Resistance, using his powers to fight for mutant freedom. His character embodies resilience and defiance, representing an unyielding spirit of those who resist oppression. So when brought into the main timeline, Ironfire's knowledge of future events of course makes him a valuable, albeit haunted ally in preventing Sinister's schemes from coming to fruition. Number 2. Sora the Cyclone. Making her first appearance in Avengers Assemble Omega 1 back in 2023, Sora the Cyclone is a Wakandan meteorologist turned superhero, and she's chosen to represent her nation on a multiversal Avengers team. Her powers, derived from Wakandan experiments with vibranium and atmospheric technology, this allows her to control wind currents, summon tornadoes, and manipulate the weather on a localized scale. Sora's intelligence and tactical mind make her a critical asset in battle, while her Wakandan heritage ties her to her people's deep cultural and technological roots. And finally, number 1, Spider-Boy Bailey Briggs. Making his first appearance in Spider-Man April 2023, Bailey Briggs became Spider-Boy after being taken and having his DNA spliced by Madame Monstrosity. His tragic origin mirrors that of many masked heroes, but his powers allowed him to stand proudly alongside Spider-Man as his sidekick. Now, despite a complex relationship with Peter Parker, including Otto Octavius' time as Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Boy brings this optimistic energy to the team, which is always fun. Though he's not as popular as Miles Morales yet, or Peter Parker, nothing of that sort, Spider-Boy's charm and growing fan base earned him his own series in the same year that he was introduced, so he's off to a good start, so we'll probably see more of him to come. Maybe in Beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe we'll see a little Bailey Briggs, who knows?
Why do you need to know about American Kaiju? Does the name alone not answer that question? First appearing in Avengers Volume 6, Number 0 in October of 2015, US Army Corporal Todd Ziller was the test subject of a procedure by Project Troubleshooter, America's latest attempt to recreate the super soldier serum. As you may be aware, this rarely goes well for anyone. In this case, the gaps of knowledge in Abraham Erskine's serum were replaced by gamma enhancements, mutant growth hormone, PIM particles, and Dr. Kurt Connor's lizard formula, because those have all been absolute winners in the past. Now, this cobbled together serum coursing through Ziller's body turned him into a giant reptile very similar to Godzilla, for which he was given the alias of American Kaiju. He's basically Godzilla with an American flag painted on the top of his head. Now, he was unleashed and attacked Avengers Island after Avengers Idea Mechanics tried to rescue Rick Jones from S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. This led American Kaiju to do battle with Avenger 5, basically a giant robot. Yes, it was pretty awesome, not gonna lie. But next up, first introduced in the Sins of Sinister timeline, John Ironfire became so damn popular that he made it into the Earth 616 timeline. Ironfire is a mutant from Morocco with the power to turn his blood into metal that he can then control. In one of his first appearances, Ironfire uses his powers to create metal claws, kind of like Wolverine, but his abilities are so much more than just making claws. Ironfire can use his power to create horns, armor, and he's even created molten bullets that he shoots at enemies. During Sins of Sinister, he serves as a right-hand man to Storm in her Brotherhood and lives hundreds of years into the future, eventually looking a lot like Odin, if I'm honest. After the conclusion of Sins of Sinister, he arrives in the main 616 continuity, where it's revealed that he is a member of the White Sword's 100 Champions, an army that basically wages an eternal battle in the lands of Amenth. Ironfire is the last of these warriors, arriving on Morocco with the White Sword's blade, Purity. He warns the Iraqi mutants that Genesis, the wife of Apocalypse, is coming to conquer the planet, and he stands with them in battle. He's pretty cool. Mark Spector became the Fist of Khonshu when he was chosen by Khonshu himself and was given the moniker of Moon Knight. Now, years and years later, however, in Moon Knight Volume 9, Number 1 from July 2021, Mark learned that Khonshu actually has 2 hands, and therefore 2 fists. And the second one was Dr. Yahya Badir. Originally someone who didn't believe in higher deities, Yahya was attacked by vampires and left for dead when he met the Egyptian moon god Khonshu. He was then saved and became a worshipper of Khonshu known as Hunter's Moon, the god's second high priest and opposite of Moon Knight. After Moon Knight refused to worship Khonshu but appropriated his mission, establishing the Midnight Mission, Hunter's Moon moved to his territory and took over a free clinic in the neighborhood in order to keep watch over Moon Knight, intending to correct the vigilante whom he believed had strayed away from Khonshu's purpose. Hunter's Moon has all the memories of the previous characters who became Khonshu's Moon Knight, making him one of Marvel's best hand-to-hand fighters. He eventually began working as Spectre's ally at the Midnight Mission, and I highly suggest you read that volume of Moon Knight to learn more. Debuting in Powers of X number 1, which released in early 2019, Rasputin 4 is one of the more interesting recent additions to the X-Men, but she's also one of the most overpowered. Created as possibly the most powerful of Mr. Sinister's chimeras, which were basically spliced together mutants who possessed more than one hero's power, Rasputin 4 possesses 5 powers. She has the osmium metal skin of Colossus, the telekinesis and telepathy of Quentin Quire, the force fields of Gunther Bane aka Eunice the Untouchable, the intangibility of Kitty Pryde, and just to top it all off, she has the healing factor of X-23 Laura Kinney, or basically Wolverine. So as you can imagine, she is a force to be reckoned with, and on top of that, she wields the Soul Sword. Currently, as far as I've read, Rasputin 4 is working pretty closely with Charles Xavier to fight back against Orcus and others during the fall of X. While she was initially controlled by Sinister, he himself undid that, and together the two actually saved the universe, with Rasputin doing most of the heavy lifting if we're being honest. More recently in the Fall of X event, she was called away by Professor X to join the crew of No Place X, venturing into the alternate timelines created by the Moira engine, hoping to wipe out Mr. Sinister clones in each one before they could become Dominions and to prevent the Enigma from ever existing. Next up, the character of Scarlet Scarab has been around for a long time in Marvel Comics, like since the 1970s, but the latest hero to carry the mantle is pretty unique in that she first debuted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Layla El Fayouly first appeared in the Moon Knight Disney Plus series with Oscar Isaac as an adventurer and the wife of Mark Spector. In the series' final episode, she becomes an avatar of the Egyptian goddess of women and children known as Taweret. Layla gained the ability to fly using those sweet golden wings, as well as superhuman strength and agility. Now, because of how popular her character in the show became, Layla's Scarlet Scarab made her debut in the actual comics in Moon Knight number 25 in July 2023. Similar to her origins in the show, she becomes an avatar of Taweret and reveals herself as the new Scarlet Scarab to Mark when he travels to the underworld, as Layla lost her life on a mission after becoming romantically involved with Mark Spector. Losing Layla was actually a factor that led Mark down a path that would eventually make him assume the mantle of Moon Knight, making her now, retroactively, tied to his comic book origin story. Now, maybe this next point is kind of cheating, but I'm making the entire new Ultimate Universe my next point. The Ultimate Universe used to be one of the most popular parts of Marvel Comics' publishing line. The Ultimate Universe was ended in the aftermath of Secret Wars, but alas, Jonathan Hickman has returned to bring the universe back to life with the miniseries Ultimate Invasion. Considering the current popularity of the multiverse concept, reviving Marvel's Ultimate Universe is a move long overdue, and Jonathan Hickman is definitely the perfect choice to script it. There's plenty of payoffs for those up to date with current Marvel continuity, as the evil alternate universe Reed Richards, also known as the Maker, who originated in the Ultimate Universe, escapes into a parallel dimension where he influences events through time to remake this universe into what he wants it to be. There are fresh takes on characters like Spider-Man, Black Panther, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Thor, and many, many more. But this new universe also has completely original characters, like a lot of the ones currently making up the Ultimate X-Men created by Peach Momoko. Moving on, 1500 years ago in Baghdad, a group of rampaging monsters known as the Army of the Devil was banished and bound to ordinary objects by the sorcerer known as Red Owl. At the moment of his passing, Red Owl then sent the monster's cursed artifacts across the globe. On that day, Fadi Fadlala's ancestors pledged to find the 1,000 cursed items and seal them away, and this duty was passed down through the generations, falling on Fadi's shoulders when he was a teenager, turning him into the superhero Amulet. Amulet first debuted in Magnificent Miss Marvel number 13 from March of 2020 in Jersey City when one of the demons of the Army of the Devil surfaced at a fair in Sussex County. Now, as you might have guessed, Amulet teamed up with Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, destroying the artifact and banishing the monster. Now, he has teamed up with Kamala a few other times, but also with Miles Morales' Spider-Man, all while fighting and banishing more of these demons. Amulet essentially has the power to conjure Nazar's shields, which can vary in size, are powered and enhanced by love, can be used offensively, and even be used as platforms for Fadi to walk on air, similar to what Kamala did in the MCU TV show. Coming to us from Marvel's Voices Infinity Comic number 100 from May of this year, 2024, Jun Sung Justin Jin is Kid Juggernaut. And if that is causing you to go, wait, what? Yeah, exactly. Justin here is the son of Jin Jung-woo, who in turn is the son of Jin Moon-ho, who we learn was the Juggernaut before even Kane Marco had the job. After Moon-ho gained the powers of Sidorak, he was forced to join the Japanese Imperial forces who were occupying Korea at that time. And when Sidorak ordered Moon-ho to attack his own village, Moon-ho refused and the power went to Kane Marco, who then took the life of Moon-ho. Now, when Justin was 17 years old, his father mysteriously passed away and Justin received his belongings, which included a fragment of the Crimson Gem of Sidorak. After making contact with the artifact, Justin was given the powers of the Juggernaut. Justin learned his family history with the gem from his mother, who witnessed the transformation into Juggernaut, and how his father refused to take the powers out of shame. Justin and his mother were then confronted by Malfagor, a follower of Sidorak who wished to acquire the power of the Juggernaut for himself and had taken the life of Justin's father looking for the gem. Justin and Malfagor battled in the streets of Vancouver until Dr. Stephen Strange intervened to help rescue Justin, and he eventually joined Avengers Academy. In our runner-up spot, those heroes who have taken up the name Jackpot have not had the greatest of luck, which is kind of funny. It goes without saying that the Jackpot name is not new, with the first being Alana Jobson, who appeared back in 2008. The first Jackpot is now nowhere to be found, and the second met her demise under its moniker, but the third time's the charm, and the third time, the moniker of Jackpot fell to none other than Mary Jane Watson. Mary Jane debuted as Jackpot in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, number 31 from August of 2023. Mary Jane basically became trapped in an alternate dimension with a man named Paul Rabin, and while only a few days passed in the real world, for them it was actually several years, leading them to grow close, adopt 2 children, and develop a slot machine device that generates random superpowers for MJ. After returning from the dimension, eventually Black Cat encourages MJ to lean into her new powers and become a superhero. Mary Jane then adopts the name Jackpot, which is actually also a callback to the very first words she ever said to Peter Parker. "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." Pretty cool. And lastly, Marvel's new Gods series has been teased for months with backup stories in the pages of various Marvel Comics titles, giving us glimpses into what's happening and the premise of the story. Now, it's done. Each of the story's key players has shown up in these back pages, including what seems to be the main player, a guy called Wynn, also known as Sir Redwyn. Wynn is the avatar of the powers that be, an ancient entity or a group that ultimately oversees all things strange and magical in Marvel Comics. Wynn received the role of Avatar over a millennium ago and has served faithfully in safeguarding the universe, without any of us knowing somehow. Thanks to his long life and his knack for always landing in hot water, he knows how to get himself out of a tight spot, even as he begrudgingly performs his obligatory duties. Now, I've seen him often compared to DC's Constantine, and I think that's actually somewhat accurate, especially in his personality. Wynn's position as the avatar of the powers that be is only one half of the overarching mythology introduced in the Gods comics, and he's the direct opposite of the powers that be are the natural order of things, and they oversee all things pure and scientific. Rather than having a single representative in the form of an avatar like Win, the natural order of things is represented by 100 immortal individuals who comprise the Centum, and one of them is Win's wife, Eiko Maki.
Number 10. Starling. Starling is the girlfriend of Miles Morales' Spider-Man. At least, at the time of this recording, I'm pretty sure she is. Starling is Tiana Toombs, the granddaughter of Adrian Toombs, who is the villain known as the Vulture. Tiana's father is Adrian's son, Frankie, and her mother is Lenora. While she often sports wings in homage to her grandfather, she isn't a villain like he is more often known for being. In fact, Adrian actually helped Tiana after her father abandoned her and her mother, and then later after her mother tragically died in surgery. Adrian had always brought money to Lenora to help support her and his granddaughter, and after Lenora's death, he actually offered to become Tiana's guardian, which she accepted. He was also the one who gave Tiana her suit and actually inspired her to become the hero she is today, despite he himself usually being known as a villain. I kinda love when legacy characters go the opposite way of any other characters they're known as being descendants of. Starling made her first appearance back in Saladin Ahmed's run on Miles Morales' Spider-Man from 2019 in issue number 5. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, you can also go check out our Top 10 Marvel playlist for even more good old Marvel content. Number 9. Somnus. Somnus was first introduced in a super cute story that was featured in the 2021 Marvel Pride issue. In his origin story, we learn that Carlo Valentino is actually an old flame of Daken. They met in Canada in the 1960s in Toronto, Ontario. At the time, Carl was living a closeted life, both as a mutant, I believe, and also as a queer man. During a one-night stand, Carl used his powers while they slept to live an entire life out with Daken in their dreams together. His mutant powers basically allow him to manipulate and control the dreams of others. An Oniromancer, as we would say. Which is how he was able to do this. Seemingly spooked by this experience, having lived a whole life with Carl in his dreams, only to wake up and find it had been just that, a very vivid dream, and that Daken was still as he was the day prior, after living a whole life overnight. Daken was sure to leave before Carl awoke. While the two never really talked after this, Daken seemingly never forgot Carl. After Carl passed on, presumably from old age, with Daken attending his funeral, Daken actually asked to have him resurrected, giving him a second chance to live the life that he always wanted, proudly, out of the closet, both in terms of his orientation and as a mutant. Carl took the name Somnus for himself, his mutant name, and would later join Kate Pryde's Marauders team. I also super duper love his design. His outfit is so good. Somnus is such a cool character. Number 8. Soldier Supreme. Soldier Supreme made his first appearance in Jason Aaron's run on Avengers, which started all the way back in 2018 and is still currently ongoing. Soldier Supreme would not make his first appearance until issue number 50 of the series, meaning that he appeared for the first time in the comics back in December of 2021. Soldier Supreme is a magical superhero from the 1940s who also would be trained by the Ancient One and become the leader of the Secret Invaders. Despite existing in the past in the comics, he would be introduced as a retcon character in the present, our present, during an adventure the Avengers had involving time travel. Soldier Supreme is Sebastian Zardos, possibly related to another Phoenix host who is also a Zardos, or perhaps even possibly distantly related to the adoptive family of Nightcrawler, who are also the Zardoses. Who knows? Sebastian was known to have descended from old powerful magic through the witches of Wundagore Mountain. Number 7. Moon Knight. No, not Mark Spector of Earth 616. Obviously, he has been around for some time and is not really new, making his first appearance back in the 70s in Werewolf by Night issue number 32. But you know who is new? The Moon Knight of Earth 818, a hero who first appeared in the 2021 volume of Avengers Forever in issue number 1. This Moon Knight is known by the name of Mariama Spectre. She appears at the end of that first issue where we learn she is part of the team and that an alternate Tony Stark as Ant-Man seems to lead. Tony of Earth 818 calls his team together after believing that something is shifting and that they might actually stand a chance at saving the whole world. Or whatever. Mariama would appear within the first issues of this run of Avengers Forever, and would also appear in some of the later issues in the series too. The first issue of the 2021 Avengers Forever series was released in December of 2021. Number 6. Tosin Oduye. Tosin Oduye is a hero that made his first debut in the current Black Panther series by John Ridley. He made his first appearance in issue number 3 of this 2022 series. He is a hero of Wakanda, but is actually greatly separated from Wakanda in some ways as well. He belongs to the Marube tribe, who chose to separate from the mainland of Wakanda and basically isolate themselves as they rejected the ideas of many who believed that vibranium should be bended to their own will and used like a tool. Instead, his people focused on finding a more natural approach to vibranium, finding natural ways to temper it, and focusing on flowing with vibranium as opposed to using it simply to do whatever they felt vibranium should be used to do. The Marube cover themselves in vibranium tattoos, and this is how they are given their powers. The Marube had seen much war come and go during the generations, and their goal was and is to basically stand as Wakanda's protectors when the time comes. Following the transition from a monarchy to a democracy, Tozin was one of the heroes who rose up to protect the new Prime Minister of Wakanda, declaring himself as Tozin, who fights for the one true Wakanda. Number 5. Amass. Amass is one of the mutants who is new despite actually being really old in terms of the history in the comics. In fact, possibly one of the oldest mutants we've ever seen. They made their first appearance in Marauders issue number 4, the current volume by Steve Orlando, not the previous run by Jerry Dugan. This is volume 2 we are talking about here, which started in 2022. Amass is actually one of my favorite new mutants when it comes to their power set and their potential. They can combine living beings into one, amassing and unifying them into one entity. For mutants that join together, this is exceptionally cool, as all the mutants' powers will be contained within one being, making them, while combined, extremely powerful. And I believe that if Amass were to do this with regular superheroes that were non-mutant superheroes, that would also be true, which is pretty cool. You could also combine non-mutant superheroes and probably mutants. The potential's crazy. If they have the right power sets, as we learn in the current Marauders series, while combined, the mutants can even use their powers together to do things like time travel. Pretty wild, right? Number 4. Thea. Thea is another mutant who comes from the very first mutant civilization, which actually existed way in the past, but basically were all wiped out. Their history hidden away for millennia by the Shi'ar, or more specifically, the secret was kept by the Shi'ar's secret society known as the Kin Crimson, who are basically supposed to keep some of the worst Shi'ar secrets secret to protect the Shi'ar, protect the crown. Thea was one of the mutants from the Threshold, the name for their ancient mutant civilization, who had their consciousness, memories, and genetic data stored within a codex, with the hopes that one day someone would retrieve that and be able to free those locked safely within it, bringing them back into the living physical plane. This group was known as the Threshold 3 and included Amass and Crave as well. Thea herself is a time manipulator, with her mutant power being chronokinesis. She and Tempo seem to develop a closer connection early on in the Marauders series. Thea first appears in the same issue that Amass first appeared in, issue number 4. Number 3. Monolith. Gosh, I love Monolith's design. Monolith seems to be an ally to the Hulk. Currently, the Hulk in his own series, titled simply Hulk, is flying around space, but is actually the mind of Bruce Banner in the body of the Hulk, with Bruce having taken control and modified Hulk's body to turn him into a spaceship, basically. Having always wanted to live as a scientist and explore the world and go on cool space adventures, Bruce struggles to see a home for himself on Earth after everything he has done, and so he decides to actually just take control of the Hulk and go to outer space. A sort of self-imposed exile, if you will, but one where he gets to actually do what he wants to do as a scientist. While on his space adventures, he runs into a kind of planet Hulk that seems to be perfect for people like him. It seems exiled Hulks, who were dubbed abominations in an alternate reality that they hail from, seem to have come to this planet and ended up settling here, all becoming super strong and smart over time. Initially they were basically exiled there, but then they basically just decided to create their own civilization. Monolith is their ruler, being the queen of this seemingly Hulk planet. Honestly, her existence is one of my favorite things about this entire series. She first appears in issue number 9 of the current Hulk series, volume number 5 from 2022. And while, yeah, we don't really know if she's specifically a superhero yet, I feel like she's leaning that way. Number 2. Wreck Rap. Who is Wreck Rap? Well, he very recently made his first appearance at Amazing Spider-Man issue number 17, where that question is, of course, answered. Wreck Rap is a demon from Limbo who admires Spider-Man, looking up to him. He originally takes the name of Parker Man for himself. He ends up becoming an ally and supporting character in the current Amazing Spider-Man story, Dark Web. In issue number 17, Parker saved him from another demon who basically wanted to beat up the latter named Parker Man. This act inspires him to want to be a hero like Parker Peach Man, and so he sets out to try and get superpowers. In the end, he instead gets a symbiote and ends up taking a new name for himself after he is told that the demon army doesn't really need another Parker and that he had it backwards. After all, they weren't looking for more heroes, they were actually looking for more villains. The name this demon settles on is of course Wreck-Rap, because it is Parker backwards. Get it? Because they were like, you got it all backwards, and he was like, alright, I'll have it backwards then. Number 1. Red Goblin. While Normie Osborn, grandson of Norman Osborn and son of Harry Osborn and Liz Allen, is a character who has been around since the 1980s and even became a villainous version of Carnage and the Goblin combined, known as the Goblin Child, back in 2018. He also recently underwent a new change, becoming known as Red Goblin himself. At first, I was worried that Norman would actually be returning to this mantle when this was teased, the return of Red Goblin, and almost instantly of course then returning to the side of villainy after only recently becoming good in the comics, goodness. But it looks like, at least in terms of Red Goblin's return and that character's identity, I was wrong, which I'm happy about. Red Goblin instead returned to us in Venom issue number 15 from volume 5, the 2022 run, as Normie Osborn. Normie was given a symbiote that is the result of the combination of both the Carnage symbiote and the anti-Venom symbiote. While in his Red Goblin guise, he seems to be acting solely as a hero who basically aims to help his friend Dylan Brock, aka currently known as Codex, save his father Eddie Brock, currently the King in Black in his Bedlam phase, and formerly known as the anti-hero, and I would say now full-fledged hero, Venom. Number 10. Nightbuster. Nightbuster is new to superheroing, but is super cute, and of those that are on our list is one that I know super well, considering I have been continuing to collect a Nightwing all this year. It was my only comic of the big two that I allowed myself to keep collecting. She is Olivia Desmond and was the daughter of Roland Desmond, aka Blockbuster, and get this, Jezebel Jet. Remember Jezebel Jet? Yeah. She is the daughter of those two villains, and yet she will probably grow up to become a hero. Her foster father is Nightwing, who also rescued her from having her soul claimed by Neron. Neron had basically acquired a contract for Olivia's soul, which Roland had promised Neron in exchange for his own upon his death, because he didn't want his soul to be claimed, so he was like, how about I give you my daughters instead? It was all super creepy. When Blockbuster was killed, Neron came a knockin', and fortunately, Nightwing, with some help from the Titans and Oracle, was able to keep Olivia safe. She would be revealed to have inherited her father's super strength and agreed to train and live with the Amazons on Themyscira, taking up the mantle of Nightbuster. Olivia made her first appearance in Nightwing issue number 98, the 4th volume of the Nightwing title, and she was created by Tom Taylor and Daniel DiNucquello. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, and if you love when we talk about superheroes, know that we have a whole gigantic superhero playlist for you to check out. Number 9. Wreck-Rap. Oh my goodness, I love Wreck-Rap. While I honestly wasn't a big fan of the Dark Web Spider-Man based event overall, Wreck-Rap was a part of that event and was a character that we got from it that honestly, I loved. Wreck-Rap is a demon who was inspired by Spider-Man's Peter Parker to become a hero himself. He initially was known by the name of Parker Man before he adopted the mantle Wreck-Rap, which of course is just Parker backwards. Wreck-Rap. His powers are similar to Spider-Man's, combined with that of a symbiote, and instead of web slinging, he prefers to call what he does with his organic webs web wanging. I really hope we see more of him in the comics. Wreck-Rap made his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man issue number 17 of the current volume, which we know officially as volume number 6 of ASM. Wreck-Rap was created by Zeb Wells and Ed McGuinness. Number 8. No One. Probably one of the most iconic superheroes to make their debut appearance in 2023 for me was the vigilante we've come to know as No One. Very mysterious. They are not exactly your typical hero, but I think that's what makes them so interesting. No One is from the comic of the same name and made their first appearance in said comic in issue 1 back in March. The character was created by Kyle Higgins, Brian Buccellato, and Geraldo Borges. They don't necessarily seem to have any superpowers per se, but are an extremely skilled fighter and rely on tech, gadgets, and their skills to accomplish their goals. Their focus is on calling out those who are corrupt and holding them accountable. As the saying goes, no one is above the law, but of course they are no one. The whole series centers around the mystery of who's under the mask and all of the events that happen around them, and that's also part of what makes the story of No One so interesting. That and the fact that it's a multimedia story story told through the comic and interchanging episodes of a podcast, where various characters are actually voiced, so you can actually also hear what they sound like. There's also a website that you can go to, No One's website, where if you know the right code, you can learn more about their secrets as well. So the immersiveness and interactivity of this story are also a huge part of what I love about it. The story centered around No One, which is set in Pittsburgh. Number 7. Rasputin 4. If you are a House of X / Powers of 10 fan, you might be wondering how we can consider Rasputin 4 as a new hero. Well, that's because this version of her is technically an alternate in comparison to the first version that we saw of her in that beginning to the Krakoan era. This version of the character comes from an alternate reality created by Sins of Sinister. A version of Mr. Sinister created Rasputin 4 as a chimera hybrid mutant from the samples of 5 genetic powerhouses, also like in the beginning of the Krakoan era. However, after doing so, he realized he had made himself obsolete and began to feel regret for what he'd done to get him to where he was. He actually freed Rasputin from her conditioning, confessed his sins to her, and begged for her help in getting back a device that would basically return the world to how it was during the Paradise Krakoan era, which he of course had destroyed. They did not succeed in their mission, but Rasputin would eventually have her mind sent back to the time of Krakoa, allowing her to capture Sinister and have him punished for his crimes by the Quiet Council. Rasputin made her first appearance in Immoral X-Men issue number 2 and was created by Kieran Gillen and Lucas Wernick. She is a combination of Colossus, Quentin Quire, Unis the Untouchable, Talon aka Laura Kinney, and Shadowcat aka Catherine Pride. Spider-Boy. Love him or hate him, Spider-Boy is here. Although it seems a little weird in regards to the timing of when he arrived, considering that he came in after Marvel had decided to get rid of Ben Reilly because, well, too many Spider-Men / spider-themed heroes. Too many. And then enter Spider-Boy. Interesting. Spider-Boy is Bailey Briggs. He made his first appearance in Spider-Man issue number 7, the current run, which is considered to be the 4th overall volume of purely just Spider-Man, the Spider-Man title. Not to be confused with Amazing Spider-Man, which is also about Spider-Man, but it's just a different title. I know it's confusing, but just go back to the 90s, you'll be even more confused. Got Web of Spider-Man, you got all these comics. His DNA was spliced with the spider by Madame Monstrosity, which gave him spider powers and turned him into a human spider hybrid. He was created by Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos. Number 5. Deadeye. Deadeye is the nephew of Amanda Waller. He's not exactly straight up a hero, but he also isn't exactly a bad guy either. It's kind of complicated. And he's pretty cool looking and definitely new as of this year, so I'm gonna include him here on this list. He made his first appearance in Lazarus Planet Next Evolution issue number 1. Oh boy, Lazarus Planet was a weird time, but hey, at least we got some cool characters like Deadeye out of it. Deadeye's name is Archie Waller, and he's only made a couple of appearances, so we don't really know too much about him just yet. His power set is based in the realm of psionics, having psychic and telepathic powers, but he also has demonstrated super strength as well. He can travel to the astral plane, travel to different dimensions, and also has a certain level of cosmic awareness. He was created by Chuck Brown and Alita Martinez. Number 4. Misery. Misery is the symbiote who ended up being bonded to Liz Allen. A copy of the symbiote also existed and was bonded to a chimpanzee named Grace. Initially, Grace the chimpanzee, once stabilized, sought to get revenge on Liz, but Liz was in essence saved by her newfound abilities through being bonded to Misery. Misery is a pretty powerful symbiote due to them being a combination of both the anti-venom symbiote and Carnage, which both also oppose each other. Thanks to them constantly battling and attempting to destroy one another and healing, Misery has an insane healing factor. Misery made their first appearance in Cult of Carnage Misery issue number 1 and was created by Sabir Perzada and Francesco Motorino. Number 3. Trinity. We love ourselves a heroic alternate version of a superhero's child. And if you are one of the folks who really love potential superhero kids from alternate futures, then you're gonna love this new hero, Trinity. Trinity is Elizabeth Lizzie Marston Prince. She is the daughter of Wonder Woman and an unknown man in a potential future. In her reality, she is also the future leader of the Justice League. She grew up alongside fellow super kids Damian Wayne and John Kent, who she looked up to as they were kind of like her older brothers. Her powers are similar to her mother's, and she also possesses the 3 lassos of fate. Lizzie was created by Tom King and Daniel Semper and made her first appearance in the legacy numbered issue number 800 of Wonder Woman. Number 2. 97. 97, or Ikomaki, is one of the new immortal and mysterious beings we've come to know through Jonathan Hickman's God series. She is part of an epic war that has gone on for, well, seemingly forever, between sort of the god of science and the god of magic. 97 serves the god of science, known as the natural order of things, as one of their main agents, being the last of the prime number centivars in their service. They have 100 centivars total, and she is the last prime because she's, number 97. She even gave up her relationship with the love of her life, Win, her once husband, who was secretly the avatar of the rival god of magic, which is known as the powers that be. 97 made her first appearance in Uncanny Avengers issue number 1, the 4th volume in the Uncanny Avengers title. She was created by Jonathan Hickman and Vallejo Scitti. Number 1. Kyle the Catboy. Kyle the Catboy is an interesting one. He's more of a neutral figure, but he does end up working with heroes at one point, so I'd still say he's more hero than villain, so I'm gonna count him. And honestly, most of the bad stuff that he's done in his life hasn't really been focused on hurting people or anything like that, but more on surviving. He was a criminal who spliced his DNA with a cat, becoming a splicer. He hails from the Future's End reality and ends up teaming up with Batman there, who in this reality of course is Terry McGinnis. His name is a variation on Selena Kyle, with it being Kyle Salinas. Kyle was also at one point taken in by John Constantine and taught magic by his mentor, but while he thought Constantine actually cared for him, he'd later learned that Constantine had actually unloaded all his curses on him so he could die peacefully and without burden. Ouch. Catboy first appeared in Batman Neo-Gothic issue number 1 and was created by Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, and Max Dunbar.